Welcome to Journey with the Jays NFL Sunday edition on Real 1100 AM radio. Our spreads today are brought to you by the Heater app. John, JB, Spenser, and Jake. How's it going, guys? How are your Christmases?
They were
Best
good.
Christmas ever.
I just love all the gifts that I got. I can't even tell you what I got. That's how good the gifts are that I got.
My mother did this thing, and then my father reacted a certain way. I don't want to get into the details, but it was wild. All right, so we got some NFL games today. Let's go over some of our picks. We always, as tradition, we're going to start with our hometown Atlanta Falcons. They are in Kansas City this week. They are 10.5-point underdogs against the Chiefs. So, Jake, let's start with you. Who do you like this week?
Chiefs all the way, baby. Look, you got Patrick Mahomes, who speaks for himself. You got Travis Kelce, speaks for himself. It's just the Chiefs in general, they speak for themselves. I don't think I need to say too much. That's a prolific offense, and you see what the Chiefs can do. I mean, you look at the team that they are and what they do. I mean, Saints kept them in check. Obviously, that was a close game because that's a great team. But Chiefs against a bad team, a good example of the Chiefs against some bad teams are the Jets, 35-9. I mean, you've seen what the Chiefs can do when they're playing a team that's not good. Look, I'm sorry to all our Falcons fans. This is going to be an onslaught by the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is going to be slicing up the Falcons. He's going to probably throw for 350-plus yards. Going to have quite a few touchdowns. It's going to be a monster game and not even close. That 10.5 points, that's going to be obliterated if you ask me.
Yeah, let's talk about this game. It's quite simple what's going to happen. Kansas City's going to win. We're not going to dispute who's winning the game. This isn't going to be the Jets against the Rams. But when it's all said and done, Kansas City is going to rest their starters late. Atlanta's playing for their jobs at this point. Their season's over. They're not the Jets. We're not talking about Kansas City against the Jets. We're not talking about things like that. Atlanta's a decent team. They got off to a horrible start. They're going to go in a new direction next year, but they're going to keep it close. That's what they do. But this game isn't going to be a doubt. Don't be shocked that you're not going to see Atlanta win, but Atlanta's going to cover. John?
Yeah, easily Kansas City, even though Edwards-Helaire probably won't play after that ugly injury. If anybody watched, that was gruesome. But Atlanta, is trying to get a better draft pick, so they have to lose these last two games. They're playing good teams, so there's no excuse for them not to fall apart these last two games and really jump into that top five. They're in there now, but they have to lose these last two if they really want to get a great top five pick. So I think that they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they come up short in both of these games. So I'm going Kansas City, taking the 10.5.
My original pick was Kansas City 10.5, but I thought a little bit about it. And last week, the Chiefs had a huge win over the Saints. I think this is a little bit of a trap game for the Chiefs. I agree with JB. They're going to win this game, but I think they come out of the gate a little soft. I think they struggle a little bit in that first quarter. I can see Atlanta taking an early 17-7 lead, something like that. I think the Chiefs will rally in the second half and then eventually win. But I'm going to change my pick. I'm sorry, JB. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to go with the Falcons plus 10.5.
Interesting switch there. We were talking about this pre-show, but all right. Find out soon enough, but I'm going to tell you this. Do not doubt Patrick Mahomes on that offense. I know what you're saying, but I'm telling you, they're going to come out and absolutely, Spenser, as you might say, they're going to kick the snot out of the Falcons this week. It's not going to be even close.
All right, so now is the time of the show for our locks of the week. I will go first because I went 3-1 last week, and none of you guys had anywhere close to that. My overall record is 19-20-1, so I am now officially in first place. I took JB's spot from the last few weeks. JB, before I get into my lock of the week, how do you feel about that?
That's why there's 2 weeks left. It doesn't matter where we are now. It matters when it's over.
Oh, and my Falcons pick has nothing to do with the fact that you picked the Falcons. I just want to go out there and say it. I know you guys are all thinking about it. Nothing to do with JB's pick. I really genuinely like the Falcons this week. All right, let's get to it. My lock of the week, it's the Cleveland Browns. They are away, and they are playing the New York Jets. So similarly to why I picked the Falcons to cover, the Jets are riding about as high as they're going to be riding all season. They just beat a perennial playoff team in the Rams. They are feeling good. Sam Darnold is feeling great. He had the first good game in a while. Adam Gase won his first game all year, and they are going to crash back down to earth. Cleveland needs this game in order to have any chance at the AFC North and also to try to fight for a wild card spot. They didn't play great against the Giants, guys. I think we can all say that the Giants sort of laid a dud against the Browns as opposed to the Browns just playing great. So I think the Browns come out. They run the ball with Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Baker will play well. Defense will turn Sam Darnold over a lot. I like the Browns to cover this 9.5 points easily. JB, what do you think?
I think that Adam Gase is coach of the year. I'm putting my ballot in now. The most Jet thing possible, beating, the Rams, who are a team that I said an outside shot to get to the Super Bowl. But back to reality, Christmas is over. The Jets are going to get destroyed. The Browns are a really good team this year. John gives them no credit, which makes me like them even more. I think the Browns win by 3 touchdowns, if not more. John?
Man, I guess I have to go with the Browns because they're playing the Jets, and the Jets are really going to try and tank now that they screwed it up, and they're going to hope the Jags walk into a victory. So the Jets are going to be tanking super hard. They should have been already going into that Rams game. It should have just been an absolute disaster, and giving up like 3 defensive touchdowns to the Rams should have, put me in the fantasy championship. But that's another story. But the Browns are hot and the Jets are just going to try and tank. So the Browns should walk all over them. But it would be the Browns thing to do if the Browns ended up, screwing this up.
I know normally you're supposed to, bet against everybody else, but this week I'm going with all you guys. This is not a question. Look, the Jets, you guys mentioned the Jets are riding the highest of highs. They won a game finally, which is kind of sad to say. But look, the Browns, not only are the Browns a much better team, here's a thing that Spenser kind of touched on, but is really, really important to think about. The Browns have got to be thinking, if we win this game, we can potentially win the division. Like, not just make the playoffs, but they might have a chance at the division now. With the Steelers losing again, the Browns are probably thinking about a potential division title. They'd both be at 11 wins. I mean, that's the reality of this, is that this is not just any old game for the Browns. This is a potential division-winning game. If it comes down to the wire, that could be, the deciding factor. And so, the Browns are going to come out and they're going to try and just crush the Jets. I mean, Jets are going to be riding high. Browns are going to say, look, we didn't play our best game last week. We need to play better. But more importantly, we need to go and try and win this division. And that's obviously the case. I think that's what really is going to push the Browns. They're a great team. It's going to push them. It's going to fuel the fire, for them. And I think the Browns are going to win easily. Again, same thing like I said about the Chiefs. I think it's going to be, a complete blowout this week as well, for the Browns.
Okay, well, there you have it. That's my lock of the week. JB, you were 2-1-1 last week, so we're going to go to you for your lock of the week this week.
You gave me an extra win. I was 1-2-1, but close enough. I had a bad week. Tampa, Seattle. These are teams that just decided that they didn't want to cover. It was just an ugly week. But this week I'm going with the clear choice. I got Buffalo Monday night, the last Monday night game of the year. This is a team that's going to go far in the playoffs. They have an outside shot. If you listen Thursday, I told you I think that they have the one team besides Kansas City in the AFC that has a shot to go to the Super Bowl. I like Buffalo. I think that they're going to win by double digits here. Take it to the bank. Go Buffalo all the way. New England, I don't know what Belichick's doing up there. We had that whole discussion earlier in the year, Belichick or Brady. Obviously, together, they were a lot better. separate. I don't think either one is as good, but that's for another time. I like Buffalo, Jake.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is actually one of my other picks for this week. But yeah, I'm taking the Bills. I mean, look, the Bills are trying to win, as many games as they can to up their seeding. They just clinched the division this past week, and the truth is they have an outside chance at that number one spot. I doubt it because I don't think the Chiefs are going to relinquish it, but realistically, they could end up being the number 2 seed. And I think that's one of the things that the Bills are definitely thinking about is, hey, let's get that number 2 seed. We have the Browns who are going to keep fighting for that spot as well. But the Steelers are on a losing streak, and it's potentially going to slip out of their hands and into another team. And so I think the Bills are partially thinking about that. And the second thing is the Pats are just not good. They just lost Stephon Gilmore for the rest of the season. So there goes their number one cover guy. I think that's going to really open up the lane for Stephon Diggs to have a nice big game. And it's not to say that Stephon Diggs wasn't going to be able to have a good game, but if Stephon Diggs is ever going to have a big game, he just had it. He had the door open for him because now their best cover guy is gone, and he's going to probably torch the Pats. And for the third straight game, I think it's going to be one of those games that I said, but the other 2 games, I'll say it again. It's going to be an absolute blowout where this team that I have to be picking in the Bills, they're going to just obliterate their opponents. It's going to be an onslaught again. The Bills are one of the best teams. Defense is improving. Offense is clicking. Don't see how the Pats are stopping them. I get Bill Belichick's a great coach, but he doesn't have too much to work with, and he's losing his best players as we speak. So Bills all the way.
It's hard to win football games when your quarterback can't and won't throw the football. And in the past few weeks, we have seen this hesitancy, whether it's Josh McDaniels not wanting to call throwing plays or Cam Newton just not wanting to throw the ball, but all their touchdowns, all their yards seem to come on the ground. And you can't win a lot of football games that way. You have to have some type of passing attack in today's NFL. On the other side, you have a quarterback in Josh Allen, who we talk about a lot on both of our radio shows, but we have yet to use the perfect word to describe him, and that's moxie. Josh Allen has moxie. Cam Newton used to have moxie. He doesn't have it anymore. I can see Josh Allen hanging like 4 touchdowns on the Pats, 35 to 10 blowout. I think Diggs will be healthy. Him and Beasley will have big games. Maybe Singletary will get a touchdown or 2. Zach Moss, the defense will force a few turnovers. But yeah, the Patriots are trending downward fast. I think they actually might try to go with Stidham towards the end of this year to see what they have. But I like the Bills to cover the 7 points. John?
I actually like the Pats in this one because they're at home. It's Monday Night Football, and they're at home. They're going to show a little pride. And you said they don't have a guy to cover Stephon Diggs. They still have J.C. Jackson, who's a really, really good corner. Let's not give that face. J.C. Jackson is fantastic. They still got the McCourty brothers, who are fantastic. So they're going to pick off Josh Allen a couple times. They're going to keep this game low scoring. And the Pats are going to end up covering that. That's a lot of points. 7 points that the Bills need to cover. I think the Pats will cover that. And if you bet on the Pats, Monday Night Football, Bill Belichick, they're going to show up one more time this season and try and upend the Bills and try and screw up the Bills' seeding.
Jake, what is your lock of the week this week?
My lock of the week this week are going to be the Indianapolis Colts. I've talked about the Colts on this show before, and there have been times I haven't been their biggest supporter. I'm first to admit that. I've been a doubter. I've been a hater, but I've been proven wrong. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Colts are the best team in the AFC because they're obviously not, but they're playing good football. There's no doubt about that. And I've doubted Phillip Rivers, and I've said, oh, he's an old man. He can't do it. He's so far, at least in the regular season, proving me wrong. Granted, when it comes to the playoffs, I'm not going to be so sure about that, but that will be a whole nother discussion for another time. Right now, Phillip Rivers is playing good football. Nyheim Hines, I know we've talked about this on our Thursday show. Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor are a great 1-2 punch at running back. T.Y. Hilton's returned to form. Defense is playing well. There's a lot of things going right for the Colts. And, the thing is that I want to talk about more importantly is their opponent, is the Steelers. And I know you can say, oh, everything's going wrong for the Steelers, so this is their game to get right. but it's just this is not the right week. If there's a week for the Steelers to get right, it is absolutely not against a good team like the Colts, because the Colts are, without a doubt, they're definitely a playoff team, and the truth is they are at least a legitimate contender. I'm not saying that they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they have a chance. There's no doubt that they have a chance. At least they're playing good football, and I don't like the Steelers. Look, I've talked about how they are not as good as their record seems to say, because the truth is the Steelers play a lot of close games and they win games that they shouldn't. I don't need to go over it. I've gone over that many times now. But more importantly, the Steelers just lost to the Bills. That's another contender. They also just lost to the Bengals and Washington, two teams who are not contenders, even though Washington may make the playoffs due to a bad division, not a contender by any means. What I'm starting to see is, the Steelers are not playing well against legitimate contenders. You look at the other teams that are actual contenders for the playoffs and for a Super Bowl. You got the Titans. They only won by 3. The Browns, they've played once and they beat them, but we'll see what happens the second time. But they haven't had a hard schedule. The Ravens, they only have beaten by 5 in their most recent game. I don't have to keep going, but the point is, against legitimate teams with actual aspirations, they don't do it. They don't get things done, at least done well. And I think with their recent struggles mixed in with what I just talked about, Colts at -2, even though they're on the road, I like the Colts, and I like to see T.Y. Hilton and Phillip Rivers keep things going, and that run game keeps getting things going. What do you think, Spencer?
So I'm going to pull a JB card here, and I'm going to say that, and before I get into my pick, I just want to say that I think Frank Reich has done such an impressive job with the Colts this year. He should be a Coach of the Year candidate. He's been excellent for what he's been able to do. But, JB always talks about the brilliance of Mike Tomlin and how he's one of the best coaches of our generation, and he's just a motivator of young men. And for some reason, everything's telling me that the Steelers are trending downward. They've been playing horrible football. But if there's one coach in the NFL that can get this team right, it's Mike Tomlin. He's going to be in Ben's ear. He's going to be in his young receivers' ears. He's going to be in his running backs on the defense. And he's going to say, look, guys, we're on a losing streak. We've lost some bad games. We lost to our division rival, the Bengals, last week. Who are the Steelers? Are we the team that all the guys on Journey with the Jays say we are, where we're a pretender? Or are we a tough-nosed team with a Hall of Fame quarterback, a former Pro Bowl receiver in Juju Smith-Schuster, a potential superstar in Chase Claypool? Are we that team? And I think that he's going to get his guys to show up for Indianapolis, especially at home. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Steelers will win this game by a field goal, a very slim margin. But if the Steelers lose this game, their momentum heading into the playoffs, and they'd have to play the Browns in the final week of the season, it's going to be a very difficult few weeks leading into the playoffs. So I see the Steelers winning this game and winning their final game against the Browns. So I like the Steelers +2. John?
Yeah. So now Gary Bettman has been listening to our show. Mike Tomlin's been mentioning Journey with the Jays, apparently. This is good. I mean, it's great stuff. Really happy about that. First and foremost, Jake's record's 14-25-1. So let's not go with his lock of the week, the Colts. Let's go with the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. They're on a losing streak, so they're going to want to get it right. Phillip Rivers has to throw in the cold weather, that disintegrating, that falling apart arm. He's just going to get picked off 3 times. He's going to get sacked a lot. He's going to have a hard time getting back up. This is going to be just a disaster for the Colts. Yeah, they've been playing well, but the Steelers are going to lay it on them. That defense is going to be all over Phillip Rivers and his old body. And the run game is going to get shut down by the great run stuffers they have up front and Cam Hayward and all them guys. So really, Steelers should win by double digits. This is just, it's easy to pick the Colts, but Steelers at home, how bad they've been playing, they're going to be angry. They're getting beat by the Bengals. Steelers are going to lay it on them.
John, I have one quick question for you. You say Phillip Rivers is old. He's got a noodle arm. You're making fun of him. Didn't you say the exact same thing on our Thursday show about Big Ben?
He does have a noodle arm, but he has better receivers.
So I know I'm not even. I don't need to contest your points. I just want to ask: can we call this game the Battle of the Noodle Arms?
I like that.
I think that's fair to say. I'm not even contesting your pick. I just want to know, is it fair to say this is the Battle of the Noodle Arms?
I think together they're over 70 years old.
Wow.
Gosh.
Eli Manning's going to be watching this game somewhere, eating popcorn, laughing in his home theater. This is the 04 quarterback class.
One of those three quarterbacks that you just mentioned are Hall of Famers. All right, but that's for another discussion another day.
Well, that's why the Steelers are going to win, because that's the second Hall of Famer of the group. It's pretty simple. Mike Tomlin right now is one of the top coaches in the NFL. And when it comes down to it, this is a must-win game for them. They have to show up. They got disrespected. They looked horrible the last 3 weeks. It's time to right the ship. And if there's a coach that I want doing that for me, it's Mike Tomlin. I like the Steelers this week. It's going to be a close game, though. The Colts have played great all year. Every time I count them out and I don't give them respect, they show up. So, look for me an upset alert for the Colts to do well. But I think this is where Tomlin steps up and does what he does best and rights the ship.
All right. So, John, you also went 2-2. I went 2-2 last week. John, you went 2-2. So let's get to you. What is your lock of the week?
Yeah, my lock of the week is Philly at Dallas. Net -2. This should be easy for Philly to cover. They looked really good against Arizona. Jalen Hurts did. That was a competitive game. The Eagles started slow, but Jalen Hurts looked fantastic. He was amazing. He carried them throughout that entire game. And they almost beat Arizona. That was neck and neck, back and forth. So against Dallas, who's not a good team at all, Zeke didn't play last week. They beat San Francisco. They beat some bad teams. They beat the Bengals. Dallas did. Those are teams that are not doing anything. But Philly is trying to win the division. Dallas isn't going to win the division. Philly's trying, and they control their own destiny. They went out against Dallas and Washington. They get the division. So they're going to be stepping up, and can Dallas stop Jalen Hurts? Nobody has yet. And I don't see that bad Dallas defense stopping Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders and all them guys that are getting healthy. So I really like Philly. -2, I feel like this is a layup. It's just basically a pick 'em at this point. Who you think is going to win the game. And I think Philly, easily would be favored in this one.
John, it pains me to say, but I do agree. I mean, look, Jalen Hurts has really impressed me. I know we don't know what he is yet, obviously, because it's such a small sample size, and we've talked about this also on our Thursday show. It's a small sample size. 2 games is not enough to come out and say, oh, he's a guaranteed superstar for the next 15 whatever or however many years. Can't say that, but we can say he's looked good. He's got lots of potential, and if things keep going the way they're going, he would be a superstar. That we can say. I think that's fair to say. And you're right. It is a pick 'em. And while the Cowboys are at home, I know that, people might see, oh, they're at home. Let's go with the Cowboys. But I'm sticking with the Eagles. They've actually played some great football recently, which, again, also pains me to say. And the thing is, you look at the past 2 opponents for the Cowboys versus the Eagles. The Cowboys have played the Bengals and 49ers, not playoff teams. Instead, you look at the Eagles then, Saints, Cardinals. Saints are obviously a playoff team. Cardinals are trying to get to the playoffs. Doesn't mean they are, but they're at least a respectable team compared to what the Cowboys have done. And you look at how the Eagles have played against those opponents. They played well. They have played inspired football. And again, it's all painful for me to say as a Giants fan. If you're watching, I'm wearing my Giants sweatshirt. It's hard to say, but they played well, and I can't take that away from them. And, the way they played the last few weeks against good opponents and the way Jalen Hurts has played against good opponents, I've been deeply impressed. And I have to say, in a pick 'em, I'm going with the Eagles, even though they are on the road. Spencer?
I'm going to go with the Cowboys this week. They're at home. They're coming off a big win against the Niners. This is a team that's been pretty disrespected all year, and for good reason. I mean, Mike McCarthy has been laughed at by everyone in the media, and right now they're playing for the division. Like the Cowboys aren't out of it yet. So look, the Eagles are trending upwards. Jalen Hurts has looked nice. but I think this is going to be a welcome to the NFL rookie moment for him. Not that the Cowboys have a great defense. I just think it's a division game. They're home. They're going to show up and they're going to say, look, we know that this team has been getting a lot of talk recently and we haven't, but we're not a terrible football team. Actually, let me rephrase that. We're in the NFC East, so we can't be that much worse than the team we're playing against. I think the Cowboys come out I was about to say hot. I think they come out tough. I think they play the Eagles tough. I think they win the game. I think it's close, but Andy Dalton, as much as I hate him, he's not a scrub. He's been a starter in this league for a long time, and I think that they'll make enough plays. The receivers on the Cowboys, John, before you give me that look, will make enough plays to beat the Eagles. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper. Let's not forget, they probably have the best receiving core in the NFC East.
No. Jalen Hurts is taking this game. Jalen Hurts has arrived. The Eagles are alive. This is pure and simple. The Cowboys are done. They got to win last week. That's probably your last win of the season. When it's all said and done, the Cowboys, this year's over. We'll see if Dak can come back next year, but I don't see anything good coming out of this game in Dallas for Dallas. Jalen Hurts has arrived. He's going to make a statement in a big division game. The Eagles are rallying around him, and they're the team I'd be worried about right now in the NFC least.
And if you're betting this game, think about this: the Eagles are only 2-point favorites, but because Dallas is at home, it actually should be 5-point favorites that the Eagles are. So you only got to have the Eagles win by at least 2 to cover, 3 to get your money. So that's really favorable, 5-point favorite, but it's a 2-point spread. So think about that when you're betting the Eagles.
All right, let's get to our other picks. So I will start. My lock of the week is the Browns against the Jets. I have the Chiefs minus 10.5 against the Falcons. My other 2 games I'm going to pick this week. I like the Bears minus 7.5 against the Jaguars. Same exact reason why I like the Browns against the Jets. The Jaguars are trying to tank. They want Trevor Lawrence. I think they're going to give up 40 points to the Bears. Let's say 30 points, but they'll score 10. And then my final pick this week, I like the Titans plus 3.5. They're on the road in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers have not looked great against good competition. I could see them losing this game. I think Derrick Henry has a monster game. Tannehill continues his impressive season. I like the Titans plus 3.5. John?
Yeah, mine, I have KC, obviously I had mentioned. Arizona minus 4.5 at home. I got Pittsburgh plus 2 against the Colts, and then Philly minus 2 lock of the week.
I got, as I mentioned before, I got the Colts at -2 against Pittsburgh. I have the Chiefs at -10.5 against the Falcons. I have the Bills, I also mentioned, at -7 against the Pats. And my last pick for the week is the Seahawks at -1.5 at home this week. JB?
So we already went over. I love the Falcons. Give me the points. I got Buffalo Monday night, like I told you, for a touchdown. I got the Bears minus a touchdown and a half. And the Chargers. Look out for my man, Justin Herbert. Going to get his revenge against the Broncos this week and get a nice win. And as I'll be going back into first place, not by as much as I wanted because Spenser flip-flopped on his Atlanta pick.
I made a mistake. I said the Chiefs with the spread. I meant Atlanta with the spread. I did flip-flop. So put me in for Atlanta, please.
But that's about it until next week when I'm back in first place. And, make sure you listen to the Thursday show this week coming up. We have a lot of big news coming out. You want to make sure you're listening. It's Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. We'll see you then. Hope you guys had a happy holiday. This has been Journey with the J Sunday edition.